Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Adrian and Russ, for inviting me here today. There does seem very much a common theme, so there will be I think, a little repetitiveness on what I'm going to talk to you today. But I've been asked to talk to you about what we love about digital out of home. I've also been asked to talk about what we're not so keen on, and also where we see areas for more investment. And as Adrian says, I do this very much with two hats on. From a Samsung perspective, for whom we plan and buy all their out-of-home, but also across the Cheil wider client base, so from a strategic planning and also a creative point of view. So why do we love digital out-of-home? Well, digital out-of-home is something actually we're really passionate about. The medium is growing rapidly in terms of both reach and revenue, but it's the continual push for innovation and the creative possibilities which are really starting to transform the industry that we're really excited about. And Neil mentioned quite a few of those just a minute ago. The flexibility that digital out-of-home allows, that we can now really accurately target our core audience, we can deliver relevant, contextualized messaging at the right time of day, through day part, by week, by weekend, by day and by hour. And we can really deliver the real-time, the near real-time communication, realise social content creation, and so on. And this opens up an absolute plethora of endless opportunities. The digital out-of-home landscape has never looked better, with the digitalisation of some existing sites and the launch of new locations have had a huge impact on the overall out-of-home marketplace. And that has a massive influence when we are planning out-of-home campaigns. And we work really closely with the creative teams, and we've got to ensure that their overarching creative platforms can actually live across all the out-of-home channels. Samsung are a huge advocate at out-of-home in general. We absolutely love it. And it's very much a lead medium for most of their campaigns. And we work across all of their product groups. So it's not only mobile, but mobile a lot. We have domestic appliances. We work with TV. And we also now have introduced B2B into the out-of-home world. But digital out-of-home makes up a really significant element of that overall investment. And we well understand, I believe, how digital out-of-home can influence the market. We understand it in terms of, as I said, audience, the clarity of the image, which is really important to us, flexibility, but also the increased emotional connection that digital out-of-home can drive. And that's verified very much by Ocean's neuroscience research, I think we're going to hear about a little bit later. And we really strive to harness as much of that as we can through our planning and certainly through our placement and overall creativity. Now, many of you this morning may have walked up from the tube, passing probably the UK's most iconic digital screens dominating Piccadilly Circus. Samsung have been a tenant at Piccadilly for just over 20 years now, and over the last few years we've really tried to be much more ambitious with what we do at that space. And we've used it very much as a gateway to an experience, and linking in social, which we're doing more and more, to try and create a real moment of magic. And I think we've been quite successful in some of those areas. Share Your Love Note was an execution we did a few years ago, and it really just entailed broadcasting a photo that was taken on a Samsung Note 2, so it was brand in the hand that was done underneath the screen, and it was a photograph of couples kissing. It resulted in our only actual marriage proposal, which was also then broadcasted up onto the Piccadilly screen. And you can't get more emotionally connected than that, so that was brilliant. In more recent campaigns, we've actually invited the public to generate the content. And again, it's worked out quite well. We've had aspiring film directors have created for 15-second film. We've then recently run My Hidden London, another on-the-ground execution, and then another film interactive that we've done, which is called Secret Film. They've all been seeded from social. The two film ones have been on screen, as I say, and Hidden London was done on the ground just underneath. And I'm just going to show you briefly how they all came together. We run that film. 15-second film, the first one we saw, as I say, seeded on social, got over, just under 2,000 entries, which was really great. We had a whole film premiere that took place right by the hotel facing the screen, and we made a real issue of it, which was great. And it had a total reach of over 14 million. Hidden London, which was on the ground activation, just about 2,000 participants that took place on that, so really good. And we run about 4 or 5 campaign activations a year, but the core objective on each of those is to entertain via a brand experience. Seeing your picture up on screen and then being able to post it in near real time to family and friends all over the world via the social media channels is probably the biggest request we get from that screen. So it really is that emotional connection. And during the rest of the year, it's very much acts as our always-on digital out-of-home, playing both local and global content. Now, you may be aware, and I really hope you are, that we recently launched the GS6 and the GS6 Edge, and digital out-of-home played a really important part to that overall campaign, from the very early days of Unpack through to on sale, and I'm sure moving forward in sustain. The unveiling of the new phone took place at the World Mobile Congress in Barcelona. It happened on Sunday, the 1st of March at 7 in the evening. And working with Grand Visual and their open loop application, on the 2nd of March, so first thing Monday morning, we were broadcasting the social commentary on the new dual devices across 600 digital screens nationally. This not only extended the overall announcement of the launch itself, but by posting the tweets near their origination location, these were caught by some of the authors, they were then photographed, they were retweeted, and it happened again, it went round. So I'm just going to show you a quick video of how that worked. He caught his own tweet that he'd done in Glasgow, took a photograph, redid it, and his note says, "Feel like a part-time celebrity." So again, we absolutely love that. That was a fantastic thing to see, and to see the tweets going back again. So that was very much part of the Unpack, but Digital Out of Home also played a really important part on the day that we went on sale. On April the 10th, we held a treasure hunt, and that was across 8 cities around the country, the prize, naturally, being one of the phones, either the 6 or the 6 Edge. The treasure hunt was seeded initially a few days in advance on social, and that was listing the cities that were going to participate to get everybody excited and a bit more a warning. On the day itself, 8 phones were set up. They were set filming facing the hidden location of a golden ticket. The treasure hunt was phased during the day, so the hunts took place up and down the country, and as one golden ticket was found, the next treasure hunt then kicked in. Live footage from each of the phones that were actually doing the broadcasting was distributed, and you could watch it live across our own social channels as well as Facebook, so you could watch the frenzy as it was taking place. Digital out of home came into play across the whole campaign as such on that one day. And it was the setup and the hunt itself. So we used the flexibility of the creative to marry to three elements of the competition. So firstly, in signposting that it was coming in all the different cities, then whilst it was in action, and then when the golden ticket to that city had been found, we switched out and then on to the next city. So it really had quite a big role to play. It was just the one day, so it gave us that opportunity to really use to the best elements of digital out of home. And again, another quick look at how that played out. Is the running theme that more we use digital out of home, the more we're using social, and we're very much partnering the two together. The campaign itself was probably our most successful. It had over 45 million impressions, and the hashtag GS6 just under 24 million Twitter impressions. So really, really successful. Really pleased with that. This is, again, another little take that I love this. This was on the day of going on sale. And again, using digital out of home, contextual messaging. So we have a long-term holding at Heathrow. It's external. It's just by Terminal 2. And just a lovely little take, the creative guys coming up saying, next is landing today. And then obviously the next day we just switch straight out. And this is something we really should be doing on a much, much broader scale. And we're kind of getting there slowly. Over the last few months, we've used it for digital out of home, for a couple of tactical ideas that we've run. During the Six Nations, the England and Italy match was on Valentine's Day. So we played out at the far side there a little reminder for those that may be a bit wrapped up in the rugby to get their rose. And then, not dissimilar, as Neil was talking about, for the eclipse, we also ran a little poke, a lovely poke at our competitors just for the day, again focusing back on the GS6 and the GS6 Edge. What's worth really pointing out here in my kind of history, those executions without any consideration would have gone straight to press. And now we are really overtaking that, and we're becoming the first point of call for any tactical, which I think is something we need to strive even more for. And this has only happened over the last 4 months, all these executions. Over and above that, digital out of home plays a really, really significant part to our overall broadcast campaigns that we do consistently throughout the year. And the planning here naturally is driven by audience, location. Clarity of image is very important to us, but also we use it to support retail in many of the retail malls that you see, which are very focused on digital. Outside of Samsung, so looking more from an industry perspective, there's been an explosion of some fantastic dynamic live data-driven digital out-of-home campaigns. Neil mentioned Google Outside, and that campaign itself really released the true power potential of the medium. Using intelligent real-time data, it helped change perceptions and behaviours of just what the media could do and how far it could go on a broader scale, which I think we don't see often enough. The recent fully interactive Women's Aid campaign, Look at Me, that was done, was a really powerful example of pushing the boundaries of the medium as well and delivering strong messaging that was really impossible to ignore. And another favourite that you'll also see there was Gary Lineker's Do Us a Flavour, which I think most of us really enjoyed. And that, again, absolutely, although kind of not necessarily to scale, had social very much at its heart, driven for content. But again, some fantastic campaigns. My only question here is, with the exception of Google Outdoor, which is very much an outdoor campaign, digital outdoor campaign, most digital interactive campaigns are very heavily reliant on PR. They are made for content, and it's about sharing that content, driving distribution, and securing likes. Scale is not necessarily something that's core to those campaigns, and I just wonder if there is a way, budget depending, we can expand those and really whether rebroadcast back out onto our own media, onto our digital out of home, but certainly broader the scale for them. Now, I was also asked to talk about what we weren't so keen on, and some of the boundaries, barriers that we found within digital out of home. There is a common theme. I've heard a couple of those mentioned this morning. Firstly, with regards to the estate, many of you here will know much better than I the investment made in creating these networks and the new capabilities that digital out of home is what we love and we love about it. But many of those can actually be the barriers for us to access, and from creativity point of view. We've got these fantastic, high-tech, brilliant screens with an analogue process and an inappropriate revenue model. This makes achieving forward-thinking, creative digital campaigns very manual, very time-consuming, quite clunky. That usually means restricted, and they often come with a cost premium. We really need to see, and we need to actually see it, we talk about it quite a lot, some true advancements in bringing the backroom in line with the technologies and the capabilities that we have, and kind of get rid of those boundaries. And in itself, that will encourage even greater innovation and will give us much greater breadth to do more and do it more often and embed it as part of our campaigns. I know steps are being made, but we still need to see some more light at the end of the tunnel. Again, something that's already been mentioned this morning a couple of times. We now have the ability to plan and buy using smart data, whether that's route or whether that's other data sets that we have. However, we really need to find the collective approach to accountability, and I really can't overemphasize that enough. I know I challenge rapport a lot with this, but it's something that we get consistently down the line. And in this digital world that we talk about and all the innovation things that we can now do, it's really not unreasonable to expect proof of posting, audience delivery data. As Neil said, to be able to see live reporting where and when our ads are being displayed. During the campaign, not after, but we want to see during. Where are they? When are they? We're still waiting for an industry standard on share of voice, loop length, spot length, playout reports, copy delivery, route, etc. Again, these have been highlighted before, but this will really inevitably give us much smarter buying, again, in as far as we can react to mid-campaign to events, changes in objectives or emphasis or even audience. I mentioned a moment ago the revenue model. It really is unsuitable. The 2-week base price is the wrong way to access the value or the audience of digital out of home. Whilst I really appreciate having had a taste of it, you know, the media owners, how they work that, and also the pressures that come from landlords, so I do understand that. Price must be arrived at the merit of an audience delivery by location or network, and not simply because we can now fit 6 advertisers into the space that was originally occupied by 1. Reduced share of voice is a real issue, and that's something we are consistently spoken about by all of our clients. As I say, I appreciate this is a challenge. I appreciate there's different systems all trying to come together, but it's not altogether a surprise to hear it again. I believe it was highlighted 12 months ago here. It would be great to see some solution and at least see some light at the end of the tunnel where we have at least a feeling for when it's all going to come together. So hopefully not too far away. London is still very much dominant in digital out of home, though with Ocean's acquisition of Signature and MediaCo, we're really making inroads into digital into the regions, which is something we really, really require. We really do need to get to a point where we have a national digital out of home footprint. And by that nature, we will be able to be much more relevant. Relevancy is a really big thing, but relevant by city, location, start doing more contextualized messaging, and inevitably that will bring more investment. At Cheil, as many of you know very much, our heart is also a creative agency, but we have the real unique point of sitting at arm's length from our creative teams. Not only do they absolutely love out of home, and I promise you they do, they love digital out of home. And they spend many hours during the course of the day nipping about over to my desk saying, I've got this great idea. They're forever concocting brilliant ideas in our space with digital out of home in its heart. So I thought I would go and ask them for their thoughts. And they said, and I quote, Digital technologies, including digital out of home, allows us to tell stories, deliver ideas that weren't possible before. It enables us to disrupt and engage like never before to create deeper, more meaningful brand engagements. Great, so they're really on board. Then they said, but screen quality is inconsistent across out of home. Where we are often demonstrating Samsung devices with superior screens, this can be an issue. The lack of immediacy for more than tactical is frustrating. Lead times, setups are too long. Wider basic things need 2-week testing. So many copy restrictions make creative consistency a nightmare. Full animation, subtle animation, digital, static, in my view, just an expensive backlight. So you get the flavour of where they view digital out of home. They're great advocates, but they do see the barriers. For a brand like Samsung, innovation is really important. The ability to make that direct connection to an experience that can lead to point of purchase is really enticing. But we just really need agencies and the creatives teams to be fully up to speed with all the technologies. What are all the capabilities that we can do? How far can we push those boundaries? And I think, again, to Sean's point, it's very much about collaboration. We really do need to understand everything that can be done from media owners and their technicians. Bring your technicians with you. Tell us what can be done. The key here is new technologies enable much deeper messaging and communications, but it doesn't create the messaging. And I think we've just got to understand that disconnect. When thinking of the question of what could we do to make more investment into digital out of home, in my humble opinion, I believe that if we could overcome most of the obstacles that are currently in the way, that in itself will open the doors to allow us to do so much more. I think, as I say, the technologies are there in the main, but I don't think we make enough of them. We certainly need to showcase more of the capabilities. And another point, if I'm honest, we see the sales teams quite a lot. I think it would be great if many of them had a much greater understanding of what their own assets can do. It's all very well that, oh, I'll come back to you and I'll bring someone with me, but let's maybe give them a bit more armoury and allow them to know what's going on. And finally, again, something Sean touched on, and this is a question I get consistently from Cheil. I don't have the answer. I don't know the answer. Cheil is 15th or 16th biggest agency around the world. We have 55 offices, and within that, we have a massive shopper marketing and RX division. It's very much the heartland of what we do. And there is a question that is asked all the time. I'm just going to, if we can go on one more, many of you will recognise this. This is the virtual shop. This originated from Cheil, Seoul, in 2011, using QR codes and then barcoding. Since Seoul, it has been to China, the US, Australia, France, Chile. There's the middle bottom, there's a version that took place in Russia, and then in London Gatwick 2012 for Tesco's Plus. So again, shopper marketing, digital, media wall. And as an industry, we talk at length about 24/7 connectivity. We talk about the mobile consumer. For us, we really should start to consider the agile consumer who expect retail to be everywhere, to be instant, and to be personal. Whenever you go online via one of your 3 screens, and that's your mobile, your laptop, your tablet, You will be no doubt bombarded by everything and anything that's sitting in a basket that you haven't proceeded to check out, or anything that you have more recently searched. You can now buy directly from your fourth screen, from your smart TV. David Beckham's Super Bowl collaboration with H&M is a great example of this, and with the few women here, I thought I'd brighten your day. Make some of you feel inadequate. Have a look. Now that ran in the Super Bowl. If you have a smart TV, you could have clicked straight on and bought instantly. Now the expectations for that were minimal. They weren't expecting huge sales, but it outstripped what they expected. And then post the game, the match, it was hugely successful. So we now have most digital screens you can buy directly from. I don't have the answer, as I say, but how do we make digital out of home truly shoppable? And we are really keen to work with someone to try and find the answer to that, whether it's in the UK or even if it's on a global scale. So in essence, Samsung and Cheil, we love digital out of home. We are great advocates of it. We want to certainly be at the forefront of future innovation and future developments. And our door is open. I hope some of what I've told you this morning is useful. Thank you very much.